You're not losing deals because your reps are lazy or your offer is weak. It's because the right data never made it to the right person at the right time. And your CRM is pointing you in the wrong direction. Fields are outdated, signals are missed, and your pipeline is running on a broken data loop you can't even see. I'm Bob Xu, founder of RevSync. After building dozens of B2B RevOps systems, I realized that one of the biggest killers of pipeline isn't bad strategy. It's static data that misleads your reps. In this video, I'll show you the 3 core pillars to building a real-time enrichment loop that closes the gap between data and revenue. By the end of this video, you'll see why enrichment isn't just a buzzword. It's a compounding advantage when built right. And more importantly, how to fix yours before another quarter slips by. Because if your system isn't reacting in real time, you're not scaling revenue. You're just shooting in the dark. If you're watching this and you lead revenue operations at a startup or mid-sized B2B company, I can guarantee this. Your data enrichment system is costing you deals. Not because you don't care, but because the game has changed. And right now, your CRM is stuck in 2020. The first pillar is understanding why static enrichment is dead. Most RevOps teams still operate on what I call the one-time sync model. They enrich a lead when it first enters the system. Clearbit or Apollo gives you the initial accurate insight. Maybe the SDR adds some notes and then silence. That contact sits in the CRM for 30, 60, 90 days. No updates, no activity triggers, no alerts when something changes. And here's the reality. People change jobs. Companies raise funding. Tech stacks evolve. Buying windows open and close. But if you're not looping those changes back into your system in real time, you're flying blind. And this is the same as installing a security camera, but never watching the footage. You think you're protected, but the breach already happened. The new paradigm, real-time dynamic enrichment, tied to behavioral and filmographic triggers. When a key contact updates their job title, when a company announces a funding round, when a target account adds a tool that signals buying intent, your system should react instantly. That's the closed loop enrichment layer we implement. Real-time data mapped directly into your CRM updates and alerts get sent to your Slack so nothing important goes unseen. If I were in your seat right now, here's what I would do. Open your CRM, pick the last 10 opportunities marked as close lost. Then look at the last updated timestamp on those accounts. If you see data older than 30 days, you've already got the answer. That deal may have been salvageable, but you never saw the change coming. Now let's talk about what happens after data arrives, because enrichment without leverage is just a driverless car. Here's the second failure point. Disconnected enrichment workflows. Most teams either enrich manually or they have enrichment fields that run in the background, but no one is alerted when it matters. An SDR isn't notified when a prospect adds a new tool. An AE doesn't know when a job title changes. And the RevOps leader isn't informed when an ICP account raises a round. The data updates silently, then gets buried, then gets forgotten. This is a symptom of what I call passive ops. Data that flows but doesn't move in the right direction to the right people. The fix, you don't just enrich, you build a reaction system. Every meaningful update must trigger an action. A Slack ping, a CRM tag, a sequence reroute. You treat enrichment not as a resource, but as a live intelligence layer, embedded into your go-to-market stack. At RevSync, this is exactly what we implement for our clients. When a funding event gets scraped, a contact change gets detected, or a key account changes jobs, the right rep is notified within seconds. That's the difference between relevance and irrelevance. Let me frame it this way. Imagine your target account just raised a 10 million Series A. Your competitor is on that call tomorrow, but because your enrichment pipeline didn't trigger an enrichment workflow or your Slack channel didn't alert an AE, you're 2 weeks behind. That deal is already gone, not because your product wasn't good, but because you didn't know when to act. That's what I mean by a broken data loop. It's silent, it's invisible, and bleeding your pipeline every day. If I were rebuilding your system from scratch, I start with one segment. Let's say funded fintech startups under 200 employees. I build a clay table that tracks your key accounts and scrapes funding activities and job changes every week. Whenever a change is found, it would port that account into a Slack alert where each trigger routes to a named AE. No AI, no over-engineering, just a simple data to action bridge. Once that works, I'd scale it to other signals that matter to you. Because scalable RevOps does not start with dashboards. It starts with motion. Which brings me to the third most important pillar, embedding the enrichment workflows into your actual revenue system. Here's where most teams fail. They treat enrichment and alerting as a bolt-on layer, separate from pipeline stages, separate from routing logic, separate from handoffs. So even if they catch a signal, it doesn't route properly. The AE doesn't know what to do, the sequence doesn't reflect the context, and the buyer gets a very generic cold email 4 days too late. The new model, enrichment, is the ignition. Routing, messaging, personalization, everything builds from that one trigger. That's why inside our system, when an enriched trigger fires, it's not just an alert, it's a workflow. That contact gets tagged, assigned, sequenced, or escalated. Depending on its given score, that's how we turn signals into meetings and meetings into revenue. Think of your CRM and enrichment stack like a relay race. Old systems drop the baton between runners. They enrich, then hope they alert, then forget. New systems, it hands off the baton with precision. The data hits, the workflow fires, and the AE sprints, and the deal gets won before competitors even know what happened. If you're still stuck on batch uploads or manual Salesforce imports, you're not just behind, you're bleeding revenue daily. And I get it. Rewriting your entire RevOps system isn't a small task. You got a team to manage, a pipeline to close, and no one wants to halt that entire thing to fix what mostly works. But here's the hard truth. If you don't fix this, it compounds. Dirty data leads to missed sequences, missed meetings, missed leads to missed quarters. So if this hits home, if you realize now your enrichment process is a bit behind, here's what we can do. First, you're a RevOps leader and you're ready to stop the silent losses. We should talk. Book a quick chat with me and I would love to take a look at your current setup. Then I'll show you exactly where your revenue is leaking and how to build a loop that patches it for good. I've left the link below to do so. And second, if you're still watching this thinking it sounds like a massive rebuild, let me leave you with this. 3 years ago, I was in the same spot, running lean duct tape tools, trying to make outbound work with broken data and clunky CRM logic. But once I built the true evergreen enrichment workflow using Clay, Slack, and NAN, stopped guessing, and my pipeline got predictable. And I've helped dozens of teams do the same thing. You don't need more reps, you need better data loops. Start there, scale from there. I'll see you soon.